Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to WWF King of the Ring 1997 review. Folks, I have to say, this show was a solid one at that. I'm gonna definitely do the moment of the night, the spot of the night, and the match of the night on this pay-per-view. As usual, usually I do things like that for these type of events, basically being pay-per-views themselves. If you don't believe me, go back to a couple of the most recent pay-per-views I've done in the past. Last couple of months, I have actually done that. So we're not going to change anything up here. We're going to keep things as is. Let's go through the match card and go over the action that occurred during this pay-per-view. First match right out of the gate was Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Ahmed Johnson. Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Ahmed Johnson had a decent match overall to kickstart the pay-per-view with this King of the Ring semifinals matchup. Now, this match only lasted 7 minutes and 42 seconds, so it was kind of short. It was an average match. I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Now, Mankind faced Jerry the King Lawler one-on-one in the King of the Ring semifinals match to determine the other person who would be in the finals for this King of the Ring tournament. Mankind ended up being the victor in this matchup against Jerry Lawler. Now, I will say this. Jerry Lawler pretty much made Mankind look great. Jerry Lawler beat the living hell out of Mankind, and Mankind managed to come back with a mandible claw and got the submission for Jerry Lawler to lose to Mankind in this situation. This match, I would give a 3.5 out of 5 stars because of how much they put emphasis on Mankind, the buildup of Mankind going into this pay-per-view with the documentaries that I went over for the last couple of weeks on those matches, on his career and so forth. So those documentaries were very helpful in building Mankind to the audience. Now, the next match after that was Goldust versus Crush. Goldust wins this matchup. I didn't particularly care for this match at all. Didn't give a flying fuck. Goldust ends up winning the matchup overall, and Goldust is the winner of this matchup. The match, I'd give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Nothing special here. The Hart Foundation with the British Bulldog, Jim Neidhart, and Owen Hart facing the Legion of Doom, which is Animal and Hawk, and Psycho Sid in a 6-man tag team match. This was rather disappointing, actually, to be quite frank with you, because it was well hyped up in the sense of the Hart Foundation as the faction, and then this random tag team put together was a little bit disappointing. It could have been a very good 6-man tag team match overall. Unfortunately, that was not the case. This matchup ended up being terrible, and it was 13 minutes and 37 seconds long. That's pretty fucking pathetic. To have this match go as long as it did, Owen Hart manages to do a leap off the middle rope and a roll-up pin on Psycho Sid for the 1, 2, 3. Now, Psycho Sid, for whatever reason, could not kick out. He couldn't kick out, which made no sense to me at all. Why couldn't he kicked out of this match? It really was fucking off the walls and very terrible, to be quite frank with you. Made Psycho Sid look really pathetic. I wouldn't say a burial, but it wasn't exactly that great either. Now, there was some segments throughout the show that happened I haven't gone over with because I'm just going over the matches on Wikipedia. One of which, Brian Pillman was interviewed during the show, and he ends up getting his head thrown in a toilet with it flushing, getting a swirly by Stone Cold Steve Austin. The reason for that is because he's talking a lot of smack about Stone Cold Steve Austin, the matchup that he was going to have the next night after this pay-per-view. Now, he was being interviewed during this time, and that's where that came about. So, Austin was standing behind him when he heard all of this, and didn't particularly like what do you have to say? And so he decided to give him a swirly and call him a piece of shit and pretty much everything else in between. So, him particularly care for the things that good old whatchamacallit, Brian Pillman had to say. So, next match after that was the Hunter Hearst Helmsley going one-on-one against Mankind in the finals for the King of the Ring match. This match was great. I definitely give it a 4 out of 5 stars overall. Mankind made Triple H look great in this matchup. Triple H did very well in this match, but you got to give a lot to Mankind. He sold a lot of what Hunter Hearst Helmsley was doing to him. And Triple H doing what he does best, dominating a match, especially against Mankind. He always kicked Mankind's ass. Why? I have no idea. I don't know why Mick Foley never had one match opportunity where he could dominate and possibly win and actually win the matchup against Triple H, which made no sense to me, but whatever. But there might be matches down the line on the Monday Night Raw episodes that I have not seen of Mankind and Triple H, so we'll just have to see how all that went out. But this matchup itself, Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind, was fantastic. Almost the match of the night, but I'm not gonna quite give it that yet. Not until I get done with the other two matches that come after this. So Hunter Hearst Helmsley, of course, wins the matchup against Mankind to be crowned the King of the Ring. Now, I will say this. There is something that could revive the King of the Ring tournament, and it's this. One thing I did not like about King of the Ring was the crown and the robe and all that bullshit. I think that's over the top ridiculous. If they wanted to bring back King of the Ring, and they have, but in a very sad and pathetic way, making a lot of their wrestlers who become King of the Ring look pathetic. Especially one of which, Baron Corbin. I'm going to have to say this. King of the Ring should be crowned with a championship. Having the title state King of the Ring. Granting them the opportunity, being like a Money in the Bank briefcase, only this is a championship belt that you carry until you decide to cash in on the opportunity of a one-on-one match with the world champion. Now, the thing is about this title that I'm saying is that this title does not grant you the opportunity to cash in anytime you want. It has to be scheduled for an actual event. It cannot be a sneak behind type of maneuver and get a cheap win. I think those are really... In the past, when they first started it, it was great. After a while of doing the same fucking thing over and over and over again, it made the championship reigns seem diminished and less important after a while. Example, Jack Swagger was definitely one of them. He did not really come across as a real champion, especially after he became the champion. He didn't have any real challengers, nor did he seem all that great anyway to begin with. Another one, Baron Corbin, he looked pathetic, especially trying to cash in on the champion with a sneak attack type of maneuver here, and he ends up losing no matter what, and that makes it even worse. So, don't particularly care anymore for the cash in after a match is being done by a world champion. I think that is a pathetic way of doing things. I think the best thing to do is have an 8-man elimination matchup in a tournament to crown a King of the Ring champion. That King of the Ring champion can hold out as long as he wants to cash in the championship for the world title. It's kind of like, think of it as like the X Division Championship in TNA Wrestling. Back in the day, they used to do that kind of stuff. Well, this would be very similar to that, only this would be a King of the Ring world champion. Now, this King of the Ring world champion could go about as long as he wants with the world title, but he has to defend that championship when challenged. So, and there has to be a legit challenger. So, there is a division for that title only until that title is cashed in for the world championship at a major pay-per-view or even live on WWE programming. That is what I would do with the King of the Ring tournament. I'd make a championship out of it, and once that title is cashed in for the world championship, that title is no longer existing for the remainder of the year until the next year when they come up with the King of the Ring tournament again. That's how I would do with the King of the Ring. It would bring more value to it. It'd have another championship introduced, and it'd make the King of the Ring seem more important. Just my thoughts on that. Let me know on the comments down below what you guys think of my idea for a new way of doing King of the Ring and bringing that back to a major way for anyone who becomes a King of the Ring winner. Just my thoughts. Anyway, guys, moving on, and this match again was a 4 out of 5 stars, easy with Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind, which we do series of different matches with them throughout the entire year and into the future. Now, Shawn Michaels goes one-on-one with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which ends up being a double disqualification. Now, I'm going to say this matchup was fucking great, except the ending sucked. The ending had a double disqualification. Now, granted, maybe that's a good thing because of the fact that you don't want either one of these guys taking a loss from one another, especially being tag team champions going into this as well. So that's pretty fucking dumb in itself. So I do get the point of why they did the double disqualification, but it just leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. But at the end of the day, this matchup was a solid match, 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is the match of the night. Thank you very much. There you go. Now, the main event. Oh yeah, and by the way, they bring up Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation, and they challenge for July, I believe it's July 6th of 1997 at the time, for Canadian Stampede at In Your House pay-per-view. This would involve a main event that was introduced by Bret the Hitman Hart to have a 5-on-5 tag team match against any guys on the WWF roster. And that's pretty much that, with a very good, solid promotion or promo by Bret Hart with, you know, talking about how he's disliking America, how it's turning in. They pretty much are starting to build on towards that thing with Bret Hart disliking America and so forth. So I did like that, a little introduction there. He also tries to do commentary, which unfortunately does not go well. He actually doesn't end up doing any color commentary at all. Now, the main event was The Undertaker versus Farouk for the WWF Championship. Surprisingly enough, this was the only title on the card that was defended. Pretty fucking crazy in itself there. Now, this match between Undertaker and Farouk was not that great. Really, it was not that good. It was a horrible main event. I mean, it was alright. It wasn't great, though. It wasn't what I was particularly looking forward to. This was not a main event to me. The King of the Ring finals between Triple H and Mankind could have been the main event, or Steve Austin and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels going at it could have been the main event as well. Those two matches were the two best top matches on this entire card. The rest of it you could have taken or leave it. But the World Championship was just a total disappointment. Farouk's debut for a WWF title opportunity, the WWF World Heavyweight Championship opportunity for his debut in a World Championship match was very, very disappointing. Nothing like compared to when he beat Vader at the WCW to be crowned the WCW World Champion. that moment for him was outstanding, and his match with Vader was very good as well. Now, not discrediting it or anything, but Undertaker and Farouk did not seem like they gelled very well together. Overall, I'm going to give this match a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It was not exactly the best match of The Undertaker's career, especially in 1997. I was very disappointed in all of this to begin with. So that's pretty much that. Now, mentioning the moment of the night and the spot of the night. The moment of the night, of course, was Hunter Hearst Helmsley winning the King of the Ring, which would later on cementing his career as a future main eventer. Now, the spot of the night has to go to Triple H and Mankind on the outside of the ring, where fucking Triple H hits a pedigree through a table. Totally messes everything up. Another spot that I'll just include, because this was just fucking horrible. Mankind, I don't know how many concussions Mankind sustained during this event, but I have to tell you, his head, if you know the term using your head, well, he definitely was using his head literally into barricades and other hard objects such as the floor and other things that would not do very good for your brain cells. Let me tell you that much. Another spot that I did see, Chyna was standing on the outside of the ring, and I believe she grabbed him by the back of the shirt, pulled him, or by the hair, pulled him, and he jacked right off the top rope and into the freaking barricade with the back of his skull hitting that barricade. That was fucking brutal. She also grabbed him at one point when he had the mandible claw on him and pulled him by his hair and yanked him out, which was another spot that was just fucking brutal as well. Chyna really got herself involved in this matchup. At the end of the day, Hunter Helmsley wins this match with the odds in his favor, and Mankind fighting like hell but could not pick up the victory at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, guys, this pay-per-view was a solid one. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, the World Championship match was a terrible matchup, but the rest of the card was pretty solid. I really didn't have a whole lot of complaints. Now, if you guys did see this pay-per-view, fantastic. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of my opinions on the show. If you guys agree 100%, if there's anything you'd like to debate with me on what happened during this pay-per-view at that time, or anything else you'd like to talk about during this event, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. Anyway, guys, hit the like button if you like this video, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel, and leave a comment down below as always. Thank you very much, and have a great night, guys. Bye.